conduct.
Good evening. This is a regular City Commission meeting for Tuesday, June 15th, 2021. I'd like to call this meeting to order. I'd ask you, if you have a cell phone, please turn it to silent or off so that we don't have any interruptions. We're going to start this evening's meetings with some words from Judy Atkins from Atheists of Florida, and then if you could please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
So in preparing for this honor of giving the invocation, I was reminded of many pleasant memories from my childhood when we vacationed here from my home in West Virginia. And that was many years ago, but I still remember how good it was. As I was reviewing the history of our area, I discovered and want to acknowledge that Largo is on the ancestral land of the Tocobaga, one tribe of the Timucua Nation. I'd like to begin by congratulating the mayor and commissioners who were awarded the 2021 Home Rule Hero Award by the Florida League of Cities. I also wish to thank all of you for your service to our community. Quote, serving the public with honesty, transparency, and according to ethical standards, respecting the worth of others, and doing what is right, unquote. This Largo City motto plainly expresses the best aspirations in all of us. We need to remember these principles as we gather here today to resolve issues of importance for our community. Why were you elected? It was to work together for peace, order, and good governance for the people of Largo, to provide for the overall high quality of life for the people who reside here. The values expressed in the motto must be reflected in the character of our government, laws, ordinances, and ethical standards. But how do we fulfill the goal of respecting the worth of others? Empathy. The core of empathy is curiosity. What is another person's life actually like? We are a diverse people, varying in our beliefs about religion, culture, politics, and in our ethnic origin. From this situation, we are obliged to try to understand how others think and feel, knowing this helps us as well as them. We value others by seeing difference as something positive. The fulfillment of the aspiration expressed in the motto faces a great challenge: the civic education of our citizens. While the practical aspects of government is realized in the day-to-day business of governing, the principles that underlay often difficult decisions shape the ideas and outlook of those who are served and those who will come after. Democracy is not automatic, nor does it consist solely of voting rights. The broad social understanding of the needs and desires of others and the difficult history of human failure must keep us aware of the obstacles we have to overcome. Only continuous education, such as the Citizens Academy offered by the City of Largo, will enable us to achieve a harmonious result. What is one of the greatest impediments to the American project today? Indifference. To break through the barrier, public participation and a deliberate effort to engage all sectors of the community is required. An inclusive and community engagement approach to many public decisions ensures that the people most affected and most marginalized participate in decisions that affect their lives and the life of our community. Outstanding examples of the effort Largo is making to engage in the community at large, and I can't believe I'm here this night, is the Youth Leadership Council and the community ambassadors. Your continued work for the realizations of the aspirations expressed in the city motto is the best hope for the community of choice. As the great American atheist Robert Greene Ingersoll stated, we rise by lifting others. Thank you.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
One nation,
under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We do have a couple ceremonial items on the agenda today. The first is Youth Leadership Council.
You guys want to come on up? So I do a much better job up there than I do down here, so just please bear with me. So have a couple folks here to represent the Largo Youth Leadership Council, 2 of the graduating seniors and 2 of the staff members who, without them, none of this would be possible. So I wanted them to be recognized as well. This year, like, for everybody, was a tough year. It was absolutely a tough year for these graduating seniors. They continued to be active and engaged in what we were doing here with the city of Largo. So this is a special for me to be able to recognize them this evening. So we have actually 7 seniors, which is the vast majority of our council, that is graduating this year. So we're going to be recruiting very hard. Anybody knows anybody that would like to be on the Largo Youth Council? Call me. So let me go over and just discuss or talk about some of the students that are graduating. First off, we have Ashlyn Benjamin. She was on the council for all 4 years since we started. Ashlyn graduated from Largo High School and will be studying psychology and minoring in forensic behavioral health in college. Her most memorable moment as a Largo Youth Leadership Council member was a trip to Tallahassee and meeting the representatives. Ashley Cato. Ashley graduated from Largo High and will be attending the University of North Florida, majoring in communications. Her most memorable moment as a Largo Youth Leadership Council member was going to the Capitol every year. There's a theme. Dylan Sherwood also graduated from Largo High and will be attending the Fire Academy and EMT school. His most memorable moment as a Largo Youth Leadership Council member was the most recent trip to Tallahassee. See what I'm saying? Dylan's father is also Lieutenant Sherwood for Largo Fire Rescue. Let me see. We have Joanna Steenberg. I did not receive a response from her, but I know she was dual enrolled this year and graduated from, it wasn't Largo. She was the only one that wasn't from Largo. But was a member for the last 3 years, I believe, and has done a fantastic job. Marlena Calix, this was her first year. She graduated from Largo High and plans to attend St. Pete College for 2 years, receive her AA degree, and then transfer over to the University of South Florida to receive her degree in nursing and become a pediatric oncology nurse. And then Dennis Thomas. Take a step forward there, Dennis. So Dennis graduated from Largo High and will be attending the University of South Florida. His most memorable moment as a Largo Youth Leadership Council member including visiting the wastewater treatment plant and participating in the storm drain painting project that we just completed on Central Park Drive. He states that the visit to the treatment plant introduced me to the complexity and intricacy of the facility and its purpose. After the visit, I found myself reflecting on all of the moving parts that came together to create a functioning city. Moving parts which became further personalized throughout the painting project, where I became aware of the profound satisfaction and fulfillment which comes from understanding more about one's community, both in its place and in its people. So let me present this to you. Certificate of appreciation. Thank you. Next up, we have Kristen Scott, who is the chair of the Largo Youth Leadership Council, and will be leaving us, unfortunately. Kristen has been with us for the last 4 years, and I've had the opportunity to watch her grow over the last 4 years, and it's kind of emotional for me to watch some of these kids go. So she graduated from Largo High and will be attending St. Pete College in the fall semester to finish up the last few credits of her AA degree, and then go off to college for spring semester. Her most memorable moment as a Largo Youth Leadership Council member was the very first event that they planned, which was the Largo Youth Summit, which was 4 years ago. She writes that the specific moment was when we were all on the floor dancing together. That was with Christina Luna Gordon, I remember that. And the moment felt like we all connected to one another in the smallest, most beautiful way. So let me present you as well with a little certificate here. You, and then the mayor's going to come down, and we're all going to take a picture. So I just, if we can just give a quick round of applause. All the great things they've done over the last couple of years. We're sorry to see you go, but we know that you're going to go out and do great things, and hopefully come back to Largo and continue to make this a great place to be. So thank you all very much. We're going to just stay right here. Sure. There we go. 3, 2. All right. Parents want to come up here in a picture? You good? I know you do. I'm a parent too. I do.
Thank you, Vice Mayor, and thank you for all your leadership in that Youth Leadership Council. Thank you. Next, we'll have employees of the quarter.
All right, good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. I'm here to present to you the Employee of the Quarter Award winners. We've got 5 Employee of the Quarter winners and 1 Manager of the Quarter winner. First, we have Barry Westmark, Senior Engineer of the Engineering Department. Want to come up, Barry? Barry Westmark works hard behind the scenes, going above and beyond the city's mission statement for providing superior services that inspire community pride. Barry is the consummate city emissary and demonstrates the highest level of integrity while interfacing with large businesses like the CSX Railway Corporation. During the past year, Barry has worked relentlessly to resolve a 140-year-old CSX property ownership conflict with a city-owned road and sidewalk. Throughout all this time, he fostered a great professional working relationship with CSX, which will pay dividends for years to come. When it comes to collaboration, Barry is always ready to share his expertise and improve engineering services to other departments and agencies as well. One department director stated, "I just finished a wonderful meeting with Barry. He is a gem, and I feel so good about future collaborations and problem solving on projects." Barry also very successfully collaborated with the Office of Performance and Budget during the most recent Capital Improvements Program update. This required evaluation of multiple funds used to fund multiple projects, all while ensuring the downtown road projects were sequenced to support construction of the new City Hall. Barry's passion for his work and commitment to improving the city shines through every day. During the previous holiday period, he personally reset the electrical breakers on the downtown holiday lights on multiple nights to ensure the community would find some joy despite the effects of the pandemic. When it comes to creativity, Barry thinks strategically and can recognize stakeholder impacts before they occur. He also consistently recognizes the small things that matter to our residents. After reviewing the results of a citywide pavement assessment, Barry recognized the needs to improve the process of how capital road projects are grouped and prioritized to ensure that no individual streets are overlooked in the bigger process. In closing, Barry Westmark has demonstrated phenomenal stewardship of an estimated $5 million in project funding this year and has gone above and beyond this quarter, providing selfless service to the city and other departments, as well as the engineering department. Congratulations, Barry. Up next, we have Tim Clark and Ryan Smith, IT technical specialists in the IT department. The city's transition to the Microsoft Enterprise platform has been a huge undertaking, requiring the efforts of many people working together and sharing ideas. One of the central ideas of focus for the IT customer service division has been ramping up the deployment of laptops throughout the city. Central management of these devices is paramount so that each and every laptop and tablet does not have to be hand-touched whenever necessary, patches or updates need to occur. Using Microsoft Azure, Ryan and Tim quickly took ownership of the deployment process for all city-issued IT equipment. Over the course of the past 2 months, Ryan and Tim have been primary architects for building all of the required profiles and policies within the Azure Active Directory environment. This enabled the move away from MOS 360, ultimately avoiding the expense of that annual subscription, while also enhancing the overall security of the city's IT environment. Congratulations, Ryan and Tim, on your effective display of the city's values of collaboration, passion, and creativity in helping us move forward with this widely impactful project.
Pretend like I'm just handing them to you now. We've had COVID for a little while. So
Up next, we have Sarah Mullen, Office Administrator of the Environmental Services Department. Sarah was recently promoted to the Office Administrator position for the Environmental Services Department. This story sounds great, but shortly after her promotion, the Administrative Secretary was let go. The Office Specialist position was also vacant, which left Sarah as the go-to person in her new position. Sarah's passion for her job and coworkers shined bright as she was doing all 3 of these positions. She is still doing all 3 spots and helping office staff with the workday and payroll. Sarah has been doing the uniform staff changes for all staff with UniFirst and helping with requisitions. She has shown great passion and integrity in filling multiple jobs while also learning her new job. Environmental Services appreciates her hard work. Congratulations. Up next, we have Tiffany Early, Records Technician for the Police Department. During a recent period in the police department, Tiffany went around spreading joy and laughter with the short dance videos featuring some of our officers, records technicians, volunteers, and command staff. She has a way of getting people to do things they normally wouldn't do, and it really brightened the mood of everyone in the police department. Because of her creativity, Major Starling asked Tiffany to create a video to help celebrate our telecommunicators during National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. Tiffany did a fantastic job getting officers to say a tribute and also got some to sing. She came in on her own time to make sure she got all the telecommunicators from every shift to tell why they wanted to become a telecommunicator. She also worked with the marketing department of the city to produce an awesome video. Tiffany is a very positive person and brings joy into the office every day. I love her spirit and dedication to the police department. Congratulations, Tiffany. And last, we have Manager of the Quarter, Kara Peel, Special Events Coordinator for the Recreation, Parks, and Arts Department. Kara continues to be a shining example of professionalism, passion, and creativity within our organization. Her work as a Special Events Coordinator has been beyond challenging over the last year, and she has proven herself to be flexible, compassionate, and innovative despite all the obstacles. Kara has found new ways to provide superior services to our community while maintaining health and safety standards. Her recent work creating a series of small markets in Largo Central Park also shows that she aligns her work with both the organization's mission and the wants of our community, such as the Earth-Friendly Market and a Mom and Me Market. Simply put, Kara is an exceptional part of our organization. Congratulations, Kara.
We should get the mayor to do it.
Dance video.
Dance, no, the mayor's got to do the dance. There we go.
Can't believe we didn't play the video. We should have.
I'm sure we can find it in about 2
Next, we have citizens' comment. If you'd like to speak about something on the agenda outside of the consent docket, please wait until that item comes up. And everybody has 3 minutes. Do we have any cards?
Yes, I have 1 card and 4 emails. First is Franca Butiqua. I hope I said that okay. Oh, is this for citizen comment?
Go ahead.
Good evening. I'm Franca Bentivegna. I'm a WFLA diving mom, and I have 2 divers on the WFLA dive team. I'm also a property owner in the City of Largo, and I'm here today to get a follow-up. We were here on March 2nd during the Largo board meeting with all of you, or some of you were on Zoom. It was myself, along with Largo residents, current and past WFLA divers, and family members, to discuss the maintenance and reopening of the tower at the Southwest Rec Center. It's been over 3 months since that meeting, and almost a year since the tower has been shut down. And we haven't yet heard of any progress regarding the subject matter. On May 24th, Lisa Rodetsky and her son Michael presented themselves at the Recreation Arts, Parks, Arts and Recreation meeting, and gave their comments during the comment time there. And their presence there isn't even acknowledged at the meeting minutes of that meeting. We're feeling a little neglect here going on. And I'm here to inform you that my daughters and the other team members are still traveling about 500 miles a week to go find a tower 5 hours away, 4.5 hours away, and coming back 4.5 hours to get 2 hours of diving on platform in. This is not the life that we meant for our children when we moved to the area and bought property in Largo. Definitely not the life that we had planned for our teenagers and 9-year-olds and 10-year-olds. This is causing a lot of stress, financial stress, mental stress, and physical stress to all parties involved, the coaches, the divers, and the families. It's reducing our family time, finances, and everything else that goes with it. Right now we have divers diving in Knoxville for the week so that we can get ready for USA Diving National Qualifier next week. This is a disgrace. We live in Largo. We have a platform sitting there rotting away because the City of Largo, for years, has refused to perform the maintenance that's due on the platform. Other than painting, the City of Largo has not done anything for this platform since its inception. It's the least maintained structure in the City of Largo. I would ask that you at least open the 7-meter and the 10-meter platform. There is no rust on it. There's no cement falling from it. All it is a 5-meter that needs to be maintained. Just shut off the 5-meter and allow the kids to go on the 7-meter and 10-meter. Just like when you shut down a park and there's something wrong in an area, shut it down, put some yellow tape, and allow the kids to go up on the 7 and 10-meter and get their training in. Please. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then I have 4 emails. First is Michael Rodetsky, and all of the emails went to publiccomment@largo.com. He says, hello, I am 9 years old. I have been diving tower for 2 years. I can do 3 dives and need 3 more to compete. My goal and dream is to go to the Olympics. I don't want to miss school to travel to another tower to train. Please fix the tower so I can learn to be a better tower diver and not sit in a car for 4 hours each way. Thank you, Michael. Next is Craig Rodetsky, also via public comment at largo.com. I live in Largo and I've owned many businesses and properties here for over 30 years. We are silver members with the Chamber of Commerce and enjoy doing business with my fellow local members. I'm also a parent to 2 amazing divers. I have a 9 and a 15-year-old who have been diving for over 4 years with many more to go. They absolutely love it. I will fight as much as I can to try to get the tower fixed and open again. As amazing as that property is, the fact is that the tower is already there, the depth in the pool is there, it just needs some long-awaited deferred maintenance. With the right management, it will draw many teams to our pool. In the past 4 months, Coral Springs hosted 3 meets that we attended. There were almost 200 divers each time, plus all their coaches. They came from all over Florida and Texas, New York, Maryland, Massachusetts, Georgia, and South Carolina. The meet lasted 3 days, and there were about 70 tower divers each time. We are getting ready to go to Georgia for another meet next weekend. So far, there are 32 coaches registered, 210 divers, and of that, 102 athletes are competing in tower. Wouldn't we want to host a meet here and create all that tourism in our city? I am begging you to please consider fixing the tower. Next is Steve Wadovich. He writes, the U.S. Olympic trials just completed and the games are soon to begin. One of the most intriguing subplots in the competition was the frequent commentary about the lack of facilities. U.S. Olympic gold medalist Cynthia Potter noted a top 12 U.S. tower diver driving 103 miles from Chicago to Brown Deer, Wisconsin to practice, given a lack of a diving tower, or another diver had to leave the state of Nebraska. These divers' dedication was admirable, and it is no different than our team traveling to Coral Springs or Orlando just to practice over the past year. It also shows you what a rare and valuable resource that the city of Largo owns. Our Olympic pool is such a remarkable resource. It has hosted 2 national championships and proved to be the training ground for an Olympic swimmer. The tower was also used for 6 meets in the 8 years that I have served as the team's parent manager. As highlighted previously, I strongly support the repair of the diving tower. The 4th is from Jeffrey Petracca. To whom it may concern, I am writing you in hopes of either saving or replacing the dive tower at Southwest Rec Center. As a property owner in town and having a niece and nephew on the South SWFL dive team, I am compelled to write to you. I feel the dive tower at the Southwest Complex does more than just give our team a place to practice and hold events. The tower helps with our commitment to our kids to stay active and involved with sports. My daughter swam for SWFL in the 90s and early 2000s, and that tower always brought families and colleges from other areas to our complex during school breaks to practice, eat, visit our area, and stay at our local hotels. To me, it is an impressive part of the Southwest Rec Complex. I am sure that the money spent on our tower will go further in providing goodwill beyond our city borders and help show that Largo has more to offer families than any of the surrounding Central Pinellas communities. If I can be of any assistance, please do not hesitate to contact me. And I'll just check mail, see if I got any others. No, that's it.
Thank you. And is that all the cards?
Yes.
I would ask if we could get piece, some of the folks here may leave before the end of the meeting, which is possible. Could we get a little bit of an update on where we are?
Yes, just briefly, we have been communicating with the WFLA dive leadership to schedule a meeting with city staff, the engineers who have done the evaluation of the tower, and the divers and their parents. We're trying to schedule that meeting for towards the end of this month. And once we get everyone together and discuss it in detail and get everyone on the same page, then we will be following that up with a presentation to the City Commission.
What's the timeline on that, do you expect?
The meeting is tentatively scheduled for the 29th of June from 6 to 7 p.m. at Southwest Rec. We wanted to make sure that we scheduled a meeting during a time that there was not a dive event elsewhere.
Okay. Thank you. Next is approval of tonight's agenda.
Move approval.
Second.
Any changes? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Next is approval of minutes from the regular meeting of June 1st, 2021.
Move approval.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Could I hear the consent docket, please?
Item 5, authorization to purchase dedicated internet access from Frontier Communications Incorporated for $27,480 per year for a period of 3 years for a total of $82,440, including a fiscal non-funding clause. Item 6, authorization to purchase 3 replacement computer servers from HP Incorporated through Agilent Solutions Incorporated, along with associating operating system and virtualization software licenses from CDWG Incorporated in the total amount of $220,268. Item 7, authorization to accept $51,000 in grant funding from the Early Learning Coalition of Pinellas County through the Coronavirus Response and Relief Supplemental Appropriations Act funds. Item 8, approval of Home Investment Partnerships Program Subaward Specific Performance Agreement with Pinellas County in the amount of $257,258.07. Item 9, approval of Community Development Block Grant COVID-19 funding subrecipient agreement with Personal Enrichment through Mental Health Services Incorporated in the amount of $210,809. Item 10, approval of Community Development Block Grant COVID-19 funding subrecipient agreement with Consumer Credit and Budget Counseling Incorporated, doing business as National Foundation for Debt Management in the amount of $210,650. Item 11, authorization to purchase a replacement vehicle for the Largo Police Department from Garber Ford Incorporated in the estimated amount of $28,304 in accordance with the State of Florida Department of Management Services contract number 02-25-100000-G. Item 12, award of bid number 21-B-715 HVAC replacement for the Police Department to Air Mechanical Service Corporation in the amount of $249,964. Item 13, award of bid number 21-B-718 wastewater treatment chemicals to Odyssey Manufacturing and Hawkins Incorporated for a 2-year period in the estimated amount of $1,850,000.
Thank you. You've heard the consent docket. I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve the consent docket without commission discussion and including staff background provided in the commission packets.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Next is ordinance number 2021-50.
Good evening. There have been no changes since the first reading of this item.
Ordinance number 2021-50, an ordinance of the City of Largo, Florida, amending Chapter 22, Article 5 of the City of Largo Code of Ordinances by amending Section 22-103B, providing the city manager with the authority to designate a city employee to classify any business for business tax receipt purposes, amending Section 22-104A1 to provide for the documentation needed for issuance of certain business tax receipts, amending Section 22-105A to clarify exemption and registration for certain persons, amending Section 22-107 to clarify penalty and enforcement actions, repealing Section 22-109 regarding enforcement procedures, providing for severability, providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Do we have any cards on this?
I have no cards.
Any questions from the commission?
I move to adopt ordinance number 2021-50 on second and final reading.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Thank you. Next is ordinance number 2021-36.
Good evening, Mayor and City Commission. Ordinance 2021-36 is the second and final reading for amending Ordinance 2021-14, which annexed one property located at 7125 Darien Way. All requirements as specified in Chapter 171 of the state statutes have been met, including the advertisements which were published on May 26 and June 2nd. The Pinellas County Board of County Commissioners and Pinellas County Planning have been noticed and did not provide any objections. Staff is available for questions at this time.
Ordinance number 2021-36, an ordinance of the City of Largo, Florida, amending ordinance number 2021-14 by amending the legal description of the tracts of land being annexed, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Do we have any cards on this?
I have no cards.
Any questions?
I move to adopt ordinance number 2021-36 on second and final reading.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Next.
Ordinance 2021-37 is a second and final reading for amending Ordinance 2021-19, which annexed one property located at 1819 Juanita Court. All requirements as specified in Chapter 171 of the state statutes have been met, including the advertisements which were published on May 26 and June 2nd. The Pinellas County Board of County Commissioners and Pinellas County Planning have been noticed and did not provide any objections. Staff is available for questions.
Ordinance number 2021-37, an ordinance of the City of Largo, Florida, amending ordinance number 2021-19 by amending the legal description of the tracts of land being annexed, providing for severability and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Do we have any cards?
I have no cards.
Any questions from the commission?
I
I move to adopt ordinance number 2021-37 on second and final reading.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Ordinance 2021-54 is a second and final reading for the annexation of one property with a land use of commercial general. All requirements as specified in Chapter 171 of the state statutes have been met, including the advertisements which were published on May 26 and June 2nd. The property is contiguous to the city's municipal boundaries through previous annexations and together helps to reduce the size of existing enclaves. The ordinance proposes to annex property that is compact, as that term is defined in Chapter 171. Therefore, it is staff's opinion that the property may be annexed voluntarily in accordance with Chapter 171. The Pinellas County Board of County Commissioners and Pinellas County Planning have been noticed and did not provide any objections. All city departments reviewed this annexation and indicated services can be provided to the property. Staff is available for questions.
Ordinance number 2021-54, an ordinance of the City of Largo, Florida, annexing the within described tract of land located southeast of Ulmerton Road on the north side of Walsingham Road and west of 125th Street North, Pinellas County, Florida, and contiguous to the existing city limits of the City of Largo, Florida, with city land use designation of commercial general, redefining the corporate boundary of the City of Largo to include said addition according to the provisions of Chapter 171 Florida statutes, providing for severability and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Do we have any cards?
I have no cards.
Any questions?
I move to adopt ordinance number 2021-54 on second and final reading.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is item number 18.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Commissioners. The purpose of this agenda item is to seek approval from the City Commission for a professional services agreement with the Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council.
Number 19.
That's right. We have that as number 19 on ours, but go ahead. We can move forward. We'll come back to that.
I apologize.
You're just overly anxious to get up here.
Jump the gun. It's a great opportunity, so you're excited about it.
Okay, I was very excited. Yes, this is exciting. Yes, the purpose of this agenda item is to seek approval from the City Commission for a professional services agreement with the Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council for technical assistance in creation of a strategic plan for the city's medical arts district to establish an implementation framework to support the 2015 conceptual master plan for the medical arts district. The Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council was recently awarded funding from the U.S. Economic Development Administration under the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, also known as the CARES Act, to provide technical assistance for economic development to its member agencies to help the region's communities recover from the economic impacts of COVID-19. The Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council met with staff and is particularly interested in the conceptual master plan for the medical arts district because of its potential to support growth in the medical sector and associated jobs in the area. And this medical arts district is one of the special character districts in the Community Redevelopment District for West Bay Drive. And it was created to recognize the importance of a Largo Medical Center, also now known as the HCA Florida Largo Hospital, and the cluster of the medical facilities, services, and health-related assets in that area. And in May of 2015, the city retained a consultant to create a community-supported vision and conceptual master plan to examine the opportunities and constraints for future parking, access, landscape, and circulation improvements and redevelopment strategies. And the conceptual master plan was a major step in achieving the objectives of the West Bay Drive plan. However, additional community support and investment is needed to fulfill the vision for this area. The technical assistance from the Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council proposes to build upon the recommendations of the conceptual master plan and includes technical assistance for 3D visualizations in economic analysis to estimate the potential impacts of 3 to 4 redevelopment scenarios, and some examples of incentives from other medical arts districts and other communities. And last, the Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council staff will create an advisory implementation matrix to assist the city with implementation of the recommendations in the plan. The value of the work is $20,000 of in-kind assistance, and if approved by the City Commission, staff will provide outreach to the stakeholders that were involved in the original master plan in 2015 to help inform this update. And the work, if approved, will begin on July 1st, and the deliverables will be provided in January 2022, and the deliverable will be presented to the City Commission. Staff is available to answer questions at this time.
Thank you. Do we have any input on this?
I have no cards.
Any questions from the commission? I'd like to just make a comment. I just on Monday heard a list of the folks at the Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council are recommending approval, and Largo was on that list. We were one of only 3 cities in the 7-county Tampa Bay region that were on this list. So thank you to your staff for working on getting on that list. And I think I've seen the product of this process. They've done one little area in a city north of here, and the product is really a really nice checklist of how to get there and what it's going to look like when we do. So great job.
Thank you.
I move to approve the professional services agreement with the Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council for technical assistance and creation of a strategic plan for the city's medical arts district at no cost.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Thank you. Now we'll travel back in time to item number 18.
I thought I was anxious to get up here, but I guess I wasn't the only one anxious. Tonight we're here to seek authorization to negotiate with Florida, I want to say Celtic because that is the correct pronunciation, but they say Celtic, Soccer Club for use of Belcher Soccer Complex, and authorize the city manager to approve the negotiated use agreement. You will remember about a month ago we were here talking with you about a competitive process, and we heard loud and clear from you, and certainly it was something that we sought as well, is that we wanted a very robust recreational program, and we also wanted for the city to recapture some of the ability to program other things at the Belcher Soccer Complex. So we sent out a list of parameters and information to several clubs, and they responded with information on their history of developing recreational play. They produced a sample practice and game schedule that honored our interest in having access to the fields for other things, and really address the areas of community outreach and some of the things they could do to bring other people into to soccer programming, and a history of providing scholarships for players that could not afford to play. And by the deadline that we had set in the competitive process, we had one bidder, but I'm also happy to say that one bidder certainly is someone that we have great confidence in to be able to meet those parameters. So we are seeking permission to begin negotiations with Florida Celtic Soccer Club for the use of Belcher Soccer Complex. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Do we have any cards on this?
I have 2 cards. First is Rob Williams.
Hello again, commissioners, mayor. It's nice to be up here again. It's back to normal where there's not people sitting behind and over here, so that's kind of a nice deal. I'll be brief. I've been up here 3 times before this, and I'm going to say the same thing I've said before, is that I hope you all vote to approve us to become the next soccer club there at Belcher Road. I really think we're going to do a great job, and I look forward to the opportunity. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Next card is David Lloyd.
Mayor, Commission, and Joan, I want to absolutely thank Largo for looking into this matter. You know, sometimes as citizens, they don't know or know that we can actually make change when we stand up for something that we believe is right. I've been involved in this process many times. I call it sometimes what's called the 60-day burn, right? You see something that's not right, you come before the commission, you voice a different opinion, and sometimes those opinions aren't warranted. Sometimes they come with threats. Sometimes they come with all kind of things. And at the end of this 60-day burn, which is a little more than 60 days, I feel we're here today doing what's right, not only for the local soccer community, what's right for Largo, and more importantly, what we really stood up for here is what's right for the children. Not only the children that can play competitive soccer, the children that can play recreational soccer, but I absolutely wholeheartedly feel that the decision to work with Florida Celtic is going to also reach out into those areas of people that cannot afford to get on the soccer field, and that's a very big step for those children. Because sometimes when you find some of the best players that you find out there come from a spot there, they couldn't get on the field. They don't have the money for a rec league. They didn't have the money for competitive, but you bring them in and you give them that opportunity. So very excited to be here today, and just really, really want to thank you all for your time and energy. I know this isn't something that Joan wanted to take in the last 60 days, but I think it just shows that, sometimes what's right isn't always moved forward, but when you stand up for it, and especially when it's for the community and the children, this absolutely is right, and I'm looking forward to seeing those fields filled, those fields to their full potential, and I absolutely know that Florida Celtic will do a good job. So again, I can't repeat it enough. Thank you for being a city of Largo that is progressive, looks into things, and is able to listen to their citizens. So thank you, and look forward to working with the city of Largo.
Thank you.
That's all the cards.
Thank you. Any questions? Vice Mayor Robinson.
Thank you. I just wanted to say real quick, Joan, thank you to you and your staff for, like the gentleman said, throwing this on your plate here. I'm sure it wasn't part of the plan, but it did work out well. And then also thank you to Florida Celtic for listening to what the commission asked for in this proposal. I think in reading your proposal, which was fantastic, you hit all the spots that we were asking, you checked all those boxes. So I appreciate that. I think, that we can move forward and have a great experience with your club and the city of Largo, and really looking forward to see what that looks like. And just want to say thank you to everybody who was involved so far, and all the hard work that was done. Great job.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Commissioner Smith.
More question of timing. The current users, have they already vacated, or when will they be vacating?
Today was the final day, and we will be going out there tomorrow to, evaluate the building and make whatever necessary repairs and things. But the building and the fields have been vacated by the previous club.
Could we get an update in the city manager's report of what work needs to be done, kind of just after them leaving? Just curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
So, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Commissioner Gerard.
I'm going to echo the vice mayor. I thought the package was outstanding. It was comprehensive and addressed every issue that we specified. And I'm very impressed by the work that you did and your dedication. And I'm very impressed, as a matter of fact, by your outreach to the Rainbow Village and Ridgecrest area, and bringing the program in there and financially supporting kids from there. I think that's wonderful. And I think we should really congratulate you on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Thank you.
I move to approve authorization for staff to negotiate with Florida Celtic Soccer Club for use of Belcher Soccer Complex and authorize the city manager to approve the negotiated use agreement.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Thank you. Next up is ordinance number 2021-57.
Good evening, Mayor and Commission. Ordinance number 2021-57 is a budget amendment amending the IT department's budget and the FY21 adopted pay plan. This budget amendment will delete one full-time GIS analyst position from the IT budget and create a new GIS supervisor position and classification within the pay plan. The GIS supervisor will provide the GIS team with leadership within their area of expertise and help manage the workload of the GIS team. As you all know, GIS is a major information system that supports operations from infrastructure to public safety and is also a standalone application that provides information that we use in other systems. Because of the breadth and depth of the impact on our operations, the creation of this supervisor position will really help provide leadership and guidance to that team. The position will report to the business services manager in the IT department. This opportunity was created due to a vacancy created by the retirement of a longtime employee, so there's no additional cost to creating this classification this year, and our estimates put the ongoing increase in cost at only about $5,000 a year, and that's inclusive of salary and benefits. And we do have staff here from the IT department if there are any questions about this position as well.
Ordinance number 2021-57, an ordinance of the City of Largo, Florida, amending the fiscal year 2021 budget adopted by Resolution 2279 by amending the Information Technology Department budget by deleting one full-time equivalent GIS analyst position and adding one full-time equivalent GIS supervisor position, providing an effective date.
Thank you. Do we have any cards on this?
I have no cards.
Any questions?
Go ahead.
I'm just curious, how many members are there on the GIS team?
I believe 4, but I might need Brandon to pitch in for me there.
We currently have a GIS analyst, well, 2 analysts and 1 administrator.
So I understand then that with the supervisor, the 2 analysts, and the administrator, that makes up a team of 4?
Well, and then I being their manager.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
All right, thank you. That's all.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I move to approve ordinance number 2021-57 on first reading and schedule a second reading and public hearing on July 6, 2021.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Next is ordinance number 2021-58.
All right. Ordinance 2021-58 is another budget amendment, this one appropriating $160,000 in expenditures in the Information Technology Department's budget for additional computers for the Microsoft migration project. I think our employees of the quarter gave a good preview into this project as we've begun working on the Microsoft migration project, which is moving all of our systems over onto the Microsoft and Windows operating system. It's required us to purchase new endpoint devices to replace thin clients around the city. Funds budgeted for this year have been encumbered or expended, and because the project has moved apace pretty quickly, they're able to go ahead and continue and hopefully complete the majority of that transition this year. So while we had funds budgeted in FY22 and some subsequent years to continue this process, this budget amendment would appropriate additional funds this year to let them go ahead and accelerate and continue those purchases. And what we would do is deduct the amount that we appropriate here from that was budgeted for next year, since this is just advancing the timeline of those purchases. This will allow for replacement of devices at recreation facilities, as well as some additional civilian and specialty unit staff in the police department whose devices were originally funded with specialty trust funds and weren't part of our regular replacement schedule. Staff's available for any questions.
Ordinance number 2021-58, an ordinance of the City of Largo, Florida, amending the fiscal year 2021 budget adopted by Resolution 2279 by appropriating expenditures in the amount of $160,000 within the Information Technology Department General Fund, Wastewater Fund, Solid Waste Fund, and Recreation Parks and Arts Golf Course Fund budgets, providing an effective date.
Thank you. Do we have any cards?
I have no cards.
Any questions?
I move to approve ordinance number 2021-58 on first reading and schedule a second reading and public hearing on July 6, 2020.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Next is ordinance number 2021-60. I apologize.
Thank you.
60.
Ordinance 2021-60 is our third and final budget amendment this evening. This is another budget amendment deleting a full-time equivalent office specialist position and creating one FTE customer service supervisor position within the Public Works Department. The new supervisory position will be a dedicated role responsible for overseeing employees engaged in office work, resolving problems, processing transactions, collecting payments, and various customer service related functions within the Public Works Solid Waste Division. The team receives in excess of 250 to 300 calls daily, and the supervisor will assume team management duties over this team. It'll be the primary point of contact for customer service related issues that require escalation that this team might get. Staff's available for any questions, and I believe we have representatives from Public Works here if there are any operational questions as well.
Ordinance number 2021-60, an ordinance of the City of Largo, Florida, amending the fiscal year 2021 budget adopted by Resolution 2279 by amending the Public Works Department budget by deleting one full-time equivalent office specialist position and adding one full-time equivalent customer service supervisor position, providing an effective date.
Thank you. Do we have any cards?
I have no cards.
Any questions from the commission?
I move to approve ordinance number 2021-60 on first reading and schedule a second reading and public hearing on July 6, 2021.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Next is ordinance number 2021-61.
Yes, so this ordinance would amend the city's indemnification policy. Let me put that in layman's terms. So indemnification, what that means is that's when the city will provide or pay a judgment that's entered against either an elected official or a city employee as a result of litigation. So this policy addresses not only when the city would pay a judgment, but also when the city would provide an attorney to defend either an elected official or a city employee if they were sued individually. What this ordinance does is amending the existing policy to do two things. One is to address some provisions in state statute that are presently not addressed in the existing ordinance. And secondly, to address really and incorporate into the ordinance the practice that the city has been following for years now with regard to some situations that, again, are not addressed in the present ordinance. So let me just briefly kind of go through what we're addressing. The first and foremost, we're addressing a situation where an elected official or a city employee, if they were to be sued and it's alleged that they acted, just to kind of paraphrase the legal terms, outside of the course and scope of their duties, which typically in order to sue a city employee or an elected official, that it either has to generally be that you were acting outside the course and scope of your employment or you violated somebody's constitutional rights. Statute says that the city's not obligated to provide you a defense. And I don't mean you, but the employee or whatever. But usually what we do is the city provides a defense under a letter that says if it's ever determined that you did deprive somebody of their constitutional rights or you did act outside the course and scope of your employment, then we're not going to pay the judgment because case law and the statute says we can't pay the judgment. So just to give you an example, a police officer is sued claiming that they falsely arrest somebody. That could be a constitutional deprivation case. We typically defend that officer if a jury ever determined that he did actually intentionally deprive somebody of their constitutional rights, then state law says we can't pay the judgment, that the officer's going to have to pay the judgment. State law also says that in that situation, we have the right, we're not obligated to, we have the right to ask that officer to then repay the city for the cost of defending the case. So this codifies that. Our practice, which is we have typically provided that defense, we've provided an attorney, we've given them a letter saying, we're doing this, but understand, under state law, here's the circumstance. That's never been addressed, that practice has never been incorporated into the ordinance, so this ordinance incorporates that. The other part that we're doing is we're addressing situations, as I said before, that are addressed in state statute but aren't addressed here. Well, state statute or case law. So when an elected official might have either an ethics claim against them or arising out of your duties as a city commissioner or mayor, or criminal charges brought against you, what state statute says is if the criminal charges, if it turns out that you're found innocent, or if in ethics charges you're found to be innocent, then the city can pay your attorney's fees for defending that claim under certain circumstances. So our ordinance has never addressed that. So we are following state statute in those situations to address what state statute says we can and can't do. So basically, we're just mirroring the state statute, but we're incorporating that into the ordinance. I feel like I'm seeing blank faces, so if I'm not making sense, tell me. And the last thing is there's also provision now for certain circumstances where a law enforcement officer who is charged criminally, and it's very limited circumstances, but there is a provision where if a law enforcement officer is charged criminally and is found innocent, that the city could pay for their attorney's fees. And that is, there's somewhat discretionary on the city commission's part. So we incorporated that language following the statute, so we're consistent with the statute. And the last thing I wanted to point out, so with regard to public officials and employees, when we get that, if an employee was sued individually, we just address who's going to make the determination to provide the defense with the letter that says, understand, if there's a judgment against you, we're not going to pay that judgment. So what we did was, the way it's set up in the ordinance, if it's an elected official, if it's a city attorney, city manager, or city clerk, that the city commission makes that decision. If it's an employee, the city manager will just make that decision. That seemed sensible. So hopefully, I know there's a lot of legal ease in the ordinance necessarily because we're trying to follow the statute and the case law, but also because we're talking about legal proceedings. So tried to make it make sense what we're trying to do. The city has been generous in providing defense to employees who have gotten sued individually. And even at times, as you'll recall, just not that long ago, you approved a settlement of a case for an law enforcement officer who was sued individually. And we have supported those employees. But on the other hand, we do need to have the right, if an employee were to go out and just do something crazy that we couldn't support, so we'd have to have the right to be able to not provide them a defense. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm certainly I can answer any questions that you have.
Ordinance number 2021-61, an ordinance of the City of Largo, Florida, amending Section 2-50 of the City Code of Ordinances by amending the definitions, by clarifying the city's obligations to indemnify, protect, and defend public officials and city employees in civil, criminal, and administrative proceedings, and authorizing the defense or public officials and the defense of public officials and employees in certain circumstances under a reservation of rights letter, providing for severability and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Do we have any cards?
I have no cards.
Any questions?
Excuse me, I move to approve ordinance number 2021-61 on first reading and schedule a second reading and public hearing on July 20th, 2021.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Mr. Zimmer, do you have anything else?
I have nothing.
All right. You have anything going on in an hour?
57 minutes.
7 minutes until a hockey game. Keep that in mind when you make your comments. Commissioner Smith.
That mine might be long. I'm confused about the pool item. Are we not keeping them in the loop? Because it sounds like they haven't been kept in the loop. From what she's saying, and we're getting emails, are we keeping them, other than just saying that it's coming up, or?
We're talking about the dive team.
Yes.
We are communicating with the coach.
And not the parents that have been writing in?
Correct. We were communicating through the coach, and I think we're finding that we probably should have also been communicating directly with all the parents. We were assuming that if we were communicating through the leadership of that group, they would then coordinate the activities, of the other folks below them.
Okay. In the future, I would like us not to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, include them, but include the people that come to these meetings, because they take their time to come to these meetings and speak, and I think we should keep them in the loop of what's going on. The other is, are the engineer, are they going to talk about, she brought up the opening of the two other ones. Is that something that's even going to be discussed with this engineer, or the staff has even looked at that as a possibility?
You're talking about the 7-meter and
7 and
10-meter
yeah.
platform.
7 and 10, yeah.
We are going to be presenting to them the report from the engineer on the status of the tower. The information we have, I believe, is that the concrete tower itself appears to be structurally sound. The problem is you still have all that metal edging around it, the stairs, the handrails, et cetera, that all have a fair amount of corrosion and rust and whatever, and we're not convinced that that's safe for people to use the tower in that condition.
So why are we, why isn't that just coming to us to find a solution to fix it?
Well, we wanted to, and Assistant City Manager's been working more directly on this, so.
Sure, I can comment on it a little bit more. So it's not just the dive tower that there's been some deferred maintenance that we are addressing. The pool as well does need to have some maintenance done. So before we bring something to the commission, we wanted to have a complete package for you that showed you not only the dive tower, but also Southwest Pool as well. So we'll be having a community conversation, like we mentioned earlier, on the 29th. To talk to the parents, and one of the things we will talk to them about is the potential of opening the middle and the higher tower. And just like City Manager Schubert indicated, there is some rust, and the stairs leading up to the towers are not in the best condition. However, the towers are structurally sound. So that is a conversation that, we need to have with the parents, and also is a conversation that, needs to be had here at the next commission meeting when we present the entire package to you.
I get that, but it's going to be more months till we get this thing done, and I feel really bad for these kids. I mean, I understand costs, and this is starting to feel a little bit bureaucratic, and it just seems idiotic. I mean, I hate to use that word, but if we can, I get it, and if we can open it, why the hell do I have to? Why sit there and have a meeting with them to sit there to a point when we can sit there and get the conversation going, get it open? I get you want to bring them into it and let them know, but that's part of, when they come to the thing, the management of the pool can sit there and talk to them about and let them know. I just feel like I get we've been talking about the pool for a while. I'm just afraid that that's going to turn into another month, or it's going to turn into more costs, and then we're going to be looking at the pool as the next thing. And I just feel this is being pushed down a rabbit's hole that's not going to come back up for a while, and I feel really bad for these kids.
Yeah, and I understand that. We wanted to make sure that all of them would have a clear understanding of what the condition is, of everything that's associated with that tower. Also give them some information on the rest of the pool. One thing that did take time was we did have some samples done of the condition of the concrete in the towers themselves, in the tower itself, to see if there was any indication of any deterioration, of the steel within the tower. Those results indicate that things seem to be okay.
So, but then it pivoted to the pool, which we've always known that pool was going to have some work on it. So I just, really pisses me off that we're sitting there pushing this thing off. And how long have we had this report?
I can answer that question. We've only had the report for about a week and a half. One of the things that we are running across right now is that in the pool industry in Florida, there's a lot of pools in Florida, we're having trouble getting quotes from pool contractors to get a solid estimate. We heard what the commission said at the last meeting, where we want to have a firm, accurate estimate to bring to you with what the repair costs are going to be. And we're having a bit of a hard time getting responses back from pool contractors about what the estimates would be for specifically the pool reconstruction that will need to happen, as well as the tower. So we have not had this report for a very long period of time.
And the final part is, when is this thing going to be open? What are we looking at time-wise? Is it another month, 2 months, 6 months, a year?
So the to fix the tower and to fix the pool, we don't have an estimate on that. But
the tower?
we do not have an estimate on that.
Okay.
But what we need to discuss is if we want to open it before it's fixed. And that is a conversation where I think it's important for the parents to understand the condition of the railings and be comfortable with their children going up those towers, because like City Manager Schubert did indicate, the railings are also a concern with rust.
I'd be interested to find out how long it would take to fix the metal on the tower, the stuff that the problem. I mean, and I agree with Commissioner Smith. If what's the product of this meeting? Because I can tell you that the parents that we're going to meet with all want us to fix the tower. They don't really care how bad or how much work the tower needs or the pool needs. Their desire is that it gets fixed quicker sooner rather than later. And we, as a commission, gave that direction a couple months ago that, listen, we want to hold on to this asset. We want to see numbers, but I think it would be in the best interest of the city to work towards fixing the tower with the understanding that we're either going to, we may have a decision point on what we're going to do with the pool in the future. But right now, I think that we should look at a hard number to fix the metal on the tower and move forward with it. And the meeting might be informational, but I'll tell you, if you gave us a report here, every single one of these parents would know about it tomorrow. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure what the purpose of the meeting is either.
So really the purpose is to determine if we can open the tower before it is fixed, if the parents are comfortable with opening the tower before it is fixed. And I think that that's a conversation where, we want to be transparent and show the report to them so they can see the condition that the tower is in. Because unfortunately, right now, we do not have an estimate on how soon we can get the tower fixed and rehabbed, but there is still the option of potentially opening it before it is fixed. So we want to have that conversation with the parents. If the direction is to move forward and just open it, we can certainly move forward and do that. We are working on, like I said, developing a comprehensive package for you. If we want to move forward with just the dive tower, we can certainly do that as well.
Is there a risk? I mean, what are the risks of using the dive tower with the rusty handles that we're talking about? Are we at risk of them using it? And then, I mean, I don't want to say what's the worst that can happen, but
what's our liability?
Well,
what's the liability
clearly,
for us?
if people use the tower and they're injured on the tower, they're probably going to expect the city to take care of that.
Right, but we're talking about railings, right? We're saying the tower is structurally sound, but what I'm hearing is that the railings have rust.
Are the railings unsound, or is there just rust? You know,
So-
are the railings and the stairs in bad condition, which
Right.
can fail?
There is some deterioration at the bottom of the stairwell, and there is rust on the railings. The recommendation from staff and from the Public Works Department, because they've been out there quite a lot, we just had a meeting on this last week, was that they would recommend that no one hold on to the railings or swing on them or stretch, which are some things that, not necessarily swinging, but the stretching is usually done before they dive off of the platform to loosen up. So the recommendation would be that, those types of activities don't happen up there for fear of a railing coming loose.
Well, I mean, I think you're looking at me, Commissioner, to answer your question. I mean, clearly there would be a risk. Now we know that there's a railing that needs repair. In legal terms, that means there's a dangerous condition that we know about, and we have an obligation then legally to either warn of that dangerous condition or correct it. And if somebody gets hurt because of that dangerous condition, they're definitely going to make a claim against the city. I mean, there's no doubt about it. So my suggestion would be, at least at a minimum, if we're not going to have the meeting and you're going to have kids going up on the tower, we put a sign up
Warn 'em,
that says the railing is unsafe, don't use the railing, don't, whatever the verbiage is. But at a minimum, we should put up a sign there. Now, the kids that participate in this program also probably sign a release. I'd have to look at the release to see if it would cover this situation. I don't recall this specific release language, but it is possible that the release would relieve us of liability or give us a defense in certain circumstances. But anyway, hopefully that answered your question.
Yeah, and perhaps just looking at what the cost is to rehab the railings first, and then from there, I don't know, agreeing with what's already been said up here. But I don't see why that's not an option if Attorney Zimmett finds that we are somewhat protected from that. I don't see why a sign couldn't be set up along with communication to the parents and the leadership teams there those are the rules, but.
And obviously, while we're looking at the full picture out there, certainly the option would be to move forward with first repairing the dive tower and then the entire pool project being a longer-term project. So we're not, saying we can't do one without the other. I do want to clarify that.
Is the 5-meter platform safe to use?
So if you look at, and I can certainly provide the report to the commission, if you look at the concrete for the 5, the 7, and the 10, the 5-meter does not pass the level that it needs to, and probably because it's used most out of the 3 towers, but the 7 and the 10 both do pass the requirements for the concrete. And one other thing I would like to add is that the towers are not open to the public, Attorney Zimmett. They are only open to the divers that sign a liability waiver, and their coach is monitoring them the entire time that they're diving. So for the commission's knowledge as well, that the public is not going on top of those towers at any point in time.
I wouldn't want to. There were some ballpark figures that would have cost to repair the tower when this conversation started. I remember figures that were getting up to around $200,000. Is that still what we're looking at? And I don't understand, I don't think we would need a pool company to fix the tower. So do we have any bids or estimates or whatever that are more accurate?
So we're still working on gathering the estimates for the towers at this point in time. It has, from what I'm being told, it has not increased substantially from the last meeting that we had with the commission.
So the $200,000 range is still in the ballpark?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Does it have to be a pool? I think you just said that, but does it have to be a pool company that works on the tower? I mean, from
I would think it wouldn't be.
I would think it would be more of a GC or some sort of
Metal fabrication.
right? Because I think it's angle iron, and that's probably has some legs coming out of it that are anchored into the concrete, and then the railing is probably welded or bolted to that. I mean, in my experience, that's what I would imagine would be on there. I haven't looked at the prints, but I don't know. The guy who redid my pool probably can't do that. So I don't know if if we're waiting on a specialty contractor to come back that's busy because of all the other things that are going on, instead of looking at maybe somebody who would do it tomorrow. Maybe we can change direction there and get this moving a little quicker. I think it's pretty obvious that the commission wants some.
I do want to say that I do want to thank you for the attention you've been paying to this, but I think it's time we got moving. I think you've done a great job.
Everything out anyway.
Commissioner Smith, was that all you? Thank you. Commissioner Finger.
Thank you. Congratulations to the graduating seniors from Largo Youth Leadership Council. Thank you to the staff that worked on it, and to Vice Mayor Robinson for dedicating your time to that, and also to all of our congratulations to all our employees of the Quarter Recognition. It's always great to hear the stories, but we would like the video, as we said before, from PD. So thank you.
Thank you.
That's it. Thank you.
Commissioner Gerard.
I just want to thank all the team out at Station 40. I did a 12-hour ride-along out there last week, and I think that every citizen in this city should do a ride-along with the PD and with the fire department, just to see the great job they do. They are professional. They took situations, they entered situations where people were stressed out, and they immediately were able to calm these people, did their job, followed protocols all the way. It's really something to see. And they're great cooks, too. Yeah. So thank you, Station 40.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Robinson.
Yeah, just a couple things real quick. First of all, I don't know if I mentioned them when we were up there earlier, but Marissa Carlisle from the library and Kara Peel, who you all, was manager of the Quarter, are the two staff members that help with the Youth Leadership Council and do a fantastic job. So I just wanted to make sure I recognize them. Lastly, I wanted to say thank you to Jerry Reming and her staff out at the library for a couple of things. First of all, they have a presentation the other day with Leon Jackson, who was a member of the Courageous 12, which was the group of St. Pete police officers who sued the city of St. Pete back in 1964, 65 to be treated equally. So it was from I was an honor for me to be able to be there and listen to this, what I would call a civil rights icon, speak about his experience in our backyard. It was very interesting, and they also have a presentation out there in the gallery. It's called Beaches, Benches, and Boycotts: the history of civil rights in Tampa Bay. So you can go out there and kind of get a better understanding of, again, the history that we see a lot that happened here in our backyard. So if you have an opportunity, take the time to go out there. It's a fantastic presentation. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Commissioner Holt.
Just to echo regarding our youth group, again, Vice Mayor Robinson, you do a fantastic job with them, and their response about you is amazing behind your back. Congratulations to the graduating seniors. Thank you so much for your time and interest in our city, and good luck to all of you as you encounter your next chapter. And make sure you come back to Largo and bring that knowledge back here, and you can sit up here like us one day. Thank you also to our quarterly employees awards. As always, you guys are the wheels that keep the city turning, and we appreciate everything that you do. The other thing was, also, Commissioner Gerard, that you're right, this was probably one of the best presentations I've ever seen that the Celtics gave us, and meeting all of our requirements and what we are looking for, our aspirations, and look forward to working with them in the future. And I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't have anything to add. You guys all covered it.
Good. Go Bolts.
Mr. Schubert.
I have nothing.
Action items.
And one thing, a request by Commissioner Smith for an update on the condition of the soccer complex and the city manager's report on what work will need to be done.
Thank you. And I would maybe add an update on what we can find out about this dive tower as quick as possible. Meeting is adjourned.